Let's please welcome ADX Energy to the stage.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you here. I hope you're not all lost. We're the only energy company, I think, at the conference. But I guess last time I looked, we're all warming our houses, and we're probably going to need oil and gas at least till 2050, despite what the politicians are telling us. So keep an eye on this. We're an anomaly, not just an energy producer at this conference, but also we're a company that's listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, yet all our assets are in Europe. So that's something we're looking to change. We're actually looking to soon, probably first quarter of next year, also list on the Oslo Exchange. So it makes it a lot easier for all of you to buy our shares. So I'll be making some forward-looking statements as well as some backward-looking statements. This is a bit of a snapshot of who we are. Fortunately, we're a producer. We produce around 300 barrels a day right now of oil in Austria, and what that enables us to do is have enough revenue to keep our lights on, generate opportunities. And what's really important about us is that we not only have assets, but we have people. We went into Austria about 4 or 5 years ago. We got access to a large amount of data. We were able to buy a small oil field. Since that time, we've had exploration success, but more importantly, we've had people that can generate opportunities, drill wells, and develop oil and gas fields, and that's a really important thing. We've got a very healthy prospect inventory. In Austria, we've got about 360 BCF of gas and approximately 31 million barrels of oil. For those of you who are not familiar with a BCF of gas, it's a billion standard cubic feet. A billion standard cubic feet right now in Europe is worth about $11 million. So obviously if we can find these and produce this gas, it's very, very valuable. We recently picked up an area in Italy, and that added another about 370 BCF to our portfolio. So we've got a lot of gas at a time when Europe is actually desperate for gas. A lot of our gas either comes from Norway, about 30%, another 30% comes from LNG from the US. So we're very, very dependent on imports, and strategically that's a real problem. The other important thing to note about us is we do have some renewable projects. They are complementary to our existing assets, and importantly, we've been able to do a lot of transactions. A lot of the wells we drill are actually funded by others, so that reduces the risk for our shareholders. And as you can see, it's a beautiful place to play. We're in an area where we're doing things at a very high environmental standard already, so we don't need to change the way we do things. So this summarises where we are. As I mentioned earlier, obviously we're very active in Austria. We've got fields and exploration acreage. We've recently picked up acreage offshore Sicily, and we've been in Romania for quite a while. So Austria is providing our immediate activities. Sicily, we've got a really, really important area at the doorstep of Europe that's really been underdone, because Italy, unfortunately, for the last 10 years has had socialist governments that have not allowed them to develop their assets. That's all changed now, and since that time we're seeing new gas developments in Italy, and that's really important because they generate about 45% of their energy from gas, and yet 95% of their gas is imported. That's not a very good position to be in. And then Romania actually has a lot of oil and gas, and it is a great growth opportunity for us in the future. What you're seeing here is us drilling a well on our Anshoff field. I think what's really important, the basic ingredients that we have is that, you know, recently we've been able to develop a shallow gas portfolio I'll talk about in a minute. We were able to increase our interest in the Anshoff oil field, which we discovered in 2022. We're resuming well chow. We had a some issues with, if you like, environmental objections to our testing program. That's all been overcome, and the reason is that the Austrian ministry and the Austrian people realise gas is really important to their future. So these objections have been overturned, and we've got reservoirs that we want to test, and a lot more potential that we've discovered in a new play that was previously tested in 1980. So there's a lot to play for there. I mentioned the Sicily Channel earlier, and then we've got a very large prospect inventory that we've just updated in Austria, and we'll be starting to drill that out again in the first quarter of next year. So why are we where we are? In Austria, we've got excellent availability of infrastructure. It's a small country, yet a lot of people would be quite surprised that over 1 billion barrels of oil has been found and developed there, and over a TCF of gas. So it's actually a very world-class area, but no one's ever been there other than OMV and a private company called RAG. Believe it or not, in the last 75 years, we're only the third company to operate in Austria. The other two companies have gone woke. They don't want to explore anymore, so now we're the most, the most active explorer in Austria. But it's not just about, being active. There's a very high demand for gas in Austria. It used to be the place that Russian gas would come in, be stored for Europe, and then distributed through other countries. Now that's not possible anymore. So what we're trying to do is find more oil and gas for Austria that actually can be consumed within Europe. And we were lucky when we came in. One company got out, we came in, and we had the advantage of about 100 million euros worth of data, 3D seismic and well data, and that's enabled us to get our exploration going very quickly. Within a year of acquiring our exploration acreage in Upper Austria, we were drilling a well. We had our first discovery within a year of licensing. That's quite an incredible situation. And then within 6 months after discovery, we were actually producing from it. Now, why Italy? Where you can see here in Italy, we're right next to where Eni has just started an oil and gas field. This is where we are over here. The beauty of infrastructure is you've got all the infrastructure bringing gas into Italy. We're right next to it. We're offshore, but we're in very shallow water, so we can actually develop these things very, very quickly. And because we've actually played in this area before, in a past life, we were actually exploring offshore Tunisia and Pantelleria. We actually know the area very, very well. But the other benefits are, again, very low royalty rates, 10%, and a very, very now supportive government. And that's really changed the landscape in Italy, and particularly where we're operating, that has just been forgotten for the last 10 years because you couldn't get a license in Italy for 10 years. We submitted this license in 2014, believe it or not, and then we finally received it. So what can you expect? We're going to continue producing our oil and gas as we do. That keeps our people together, keeps the lights on. We're looking at now resuming testing at Welchow, which has generated a lot of interest amongst investors. We've got 3 shallow gas wells we'll be drilling. Even though they're relatively small, they're very, very highly profitable. And we're also looking to add to this facility, which has currently producing about 140 barrels a day, has the capacity to go up to 3,000 barrels a day. So we've got a lot of nice looking prospects around that, and we really want to drill them up. And then, of course, Italy is another great opportunity for us to build a portfolio that's very, very highly valuable for a company of our size, with a market capitalisation of only approximately 20 million Australian. That's about 12 million euros. So what does our program look like? We're getting into a shallow gas drilling program Q1 2026. We've been working on this for the last 2 years. Now we've got 3 prospects to drill. And then following that, we're looking at drilling a near-field oil prospect. And then after that, if we're successful, and these things are not usual oil and gas exploration, 20% chance of success, they're anywhere from 60 to 80% chance of success. So what we're forecasting here, So what we're forecasting here, if we drill 3 wells, which we will should have 2 successes. And this is what 2 successes would look like. It would take our current production rate from around 300 barrels a day to over 1,500 barrels a day. So you can see organically that's a big step up. Now that doesn't include well chow, it doesn't include what we're doing offshore Italy. But what you can see with our drilling program next year, we have the opportunity to substantially build the company, build our cash flow, and then that enables us to do a lot more, a lot faster. Because what we want to do is be quite a dominant, small, active company in Europe, which is currently dominated by either national oil companies or private equity groups. We're one of the very few listed companies that is active in Europe. I'll just give you a quick run around our assets so you know what it looks like. This is where we operate in the Vienna Basin. This is producing at around 200 barrels a day. This is our Upper Austria discovery. This discovery was made in 2022. Last year we installed a facility that has the capacity to go up to 3,000 barrels a day, and this is in Upper Austria. You can see in both cases we're actually doing things to a very high environmental standard. We're operating this field, we're operating that field, we do all the drilling, we've done all the developments. And what's changed in the oil and gas business, which has been decimated at the lower end, very few companies have the ability to generate opportunities and then deliver on them. And that's a really important thing. Our people are the most important thing that we've got. My CEO is sitting here. He's been a very big contributor to all of this, and anyone who speaks German that wants to talk to us will be at our booth. Okay, what you see here is our portfolio in Austria. We have 2 licenses, about 1,000 square kilometres. And really what we've got is a combination of shallow gas. What the wells we'll be drilling 2 wells here, 1 well here. These are all wells that are around 1,000 metres, very quick to drill, very quick to commercialise because we're very close to infrastructure and they're very low risk. But then we've got near field oil. This is our Anshoff field. The green that you see around us is opportunities to add production to Anshoff. And then we've got really big things like well chow and some deep opportunities in our acreage over here. So we've got a combination of organic growth near term and big high impact growth in the longer term. This is just showing you where we are with well chow. We drilled this well in 2024. We encountered around 450 metres of hydrocarbon shows. We recovered condensate samples. We know there's oil and gas there. Our first test was not successful in the first zone, but we've got 2 zones still to test. But what's also exciting, we drilled the well to this point, around 1,700 metres. About 1,000 metres below us is a very, very large gas exploration potential. And it's very analogous to what was discovered in the 80s but never developed at Mullen. This well was tested, it produced around 4 million standard cubic feet a day, and it's right up dip of what, if you like, the extended drilling that we can do at well chow. So you'll see testing Q1 26, and then we're working towards further drilling at this location, hopefully within the next 12 months after that. This is just a bit of a snapshot of the shallow gas play. This is an area we hold at 100%. There are 3 prospects here. The first one we'll drill is gold. Gold's a good thing nowadays. We all know gold price is going up, but we think gas price will keep going up as well. So, I mean, this is an area that we've been spending 2 years understanding what's happened historically. With new seismic, what we can do is look at historic discoveries where they didn't really understand why they found what they did, and we can compare that to opportunities within our acreage, where from the seismic we can see gas effects on seismic that correlate to historic discoveries. And that's why these things have got an 80% chance of success rather than normal 20%. The first one we'll be drilling is gold. If we're successful with that, then we've got follow-up opportunities. Now the beauty of this is it's only around 1,000 metres deep. It's the closest pipeline entry is around 200 to 300 metres, So it's a very, very rapid thing to develop. And you can see the effect that it'll have. Something like this, 8 BCF of gas will generate around 46 million euros of revenue. So that can make a big difference to a company the size of us. Again, getting back to Sicily, this is the E&I project. This is where we are, and this area has really been neglected probably for 20 years. We originally came into this looking for a deeper oil brownfield development, but as a result of historic exploration, there was a lot of seismic, there's a lot of historical exploration, well data, and we've been the beneficiary of all the work that E&I did in the 80s and 90s, and now we have that data. And what we've assessed here is there's the potential for around 370 BCF of gas. Remember what I said, a BCF of gas is worth about 10 million euros. So there's a lot to play for here. Now what does that look like? We're not talking about 60 million euros of revenue, we're talking about 1.6 billion of revenue for this kind of resource. But what's really interesting is the cost to develop this, because we're in shallow gas, is more around 300 million, rather than many offshore development nowadays, which are in the billions. And the reason is we're in shallow water, shallow drill depths, 50 kilometres from shore, and we can all do this subsea and tie back to onshore facilities. Now that's a rare opportunity. I've done a lot of this in Australia, I know what it's like, and to see this right on the doorstep of Europe is absolutely exceptional. Okay, finally, what are we doing? Shallow gas drilling, 3 wells, Q1 2026 commencing, Q2, Q3 2026 we're looking at an oil well to add to Anshoff, well chow testing, also Q1 2026. And then finally, Paul and the team will be going to Sicily, buying more data and upgrading our resource assessment, and we think things will get a lot better there. There's a lot of stack pay, so we can fit a lot of gas in a small area, and we think this will be a really new game changer for us. If you want to know more, come to our booth. We're two avenues away, and we can talk to you in English or German, a bit of French, or even some Greek if you like, and Austrian as well. All right, thank you very much for your time. Good to see you all. Signing out. Bye for all.